much as that of the Third Reich. It was an act of bravery to stand firm against an ocean. We would all want to believe that we would have been him. We might feel certain that were we Aryan citizens under the Third Reich, we surely would have seen through it, would have risen above it like him, been that person resisting authoritarianism and brutality in the face of mass hysteria. We would like to believe that we would have taken the more difficult path of standing up against injustice in defense of the outcast. But unless people are willing to transcend their fears, endure discomfort and derision, suffer the scorn of loved ones and neighbors and co-workers and friends, fall into disfavor of perhaps everyone they know, face exclusion and even banishment, it would be numerically impossible, humanly impossible, for everyone to be that man. What would it take to be him in any era? What would it take to be him now? Part 1. A structure built long ago. Chapter 1. The afterlife of pathogens. In the haunted summer of 2016, an unaccustomed heat wave struck the Siberian tundra on the edge of what the ancients once called the end of the land. Above the Arctic Circle, the heat rose beneath the Earth's surface and bore down from the sky, the air reaching an inconceivable 95 degrees on the Russian peninsula of Yamal. Wildfires flared, and pockets of methane gurgled beneath the normally frozen soil in the polar region. Soon, the children of the indigenous herdsmen fell sick from a mysterious illness that many people alive had never seen and did not recognize. A 12-year-old boy developed a high fever and acute stomach pangs and passed away. Russian authorities declared a state of emergency and began airlifting hundreds of the sickened hurting people, the Nenets, to the nearest hospital in Salekhard. Scientists then identified what had afflicted the Siberian settlements. The aberrant heat had chiseled far deeper into the Russian permafrost than was normal, and had exposed a toxin that had been encased since 1941, when the world was last at war. It was the pathogen anthrax, which had killed herds of reindeer all those decades ago, and lain hidden in the animal carcasses long since buried in the permafrost. A thawed and tainted carcass rose to the surface that summer, the pathogen awakened intact and as powerful as it had ever been. The pathogen's spores seeped into the grazing land and infected the reindeer and spread to the herders who raised and relied upon them. The anthrax, like the reactivation of the human pathogens of hatred and tribalism in this evolving century, had never died. It lay in wait, sleeping, until extreme circumstances brought it to the surface and back to life. On the other side of the planet, the United States, the world's oldest and most powerful democracy, was in spasms over an election that would transfix the Western world and become a psychic break in American history, one that will likely be studied and dissected for generations. For the first time in history, a woman was running as a major party candidate for President of the United States. A household name, the candidate was a no-nonsense national figure, overqualified by some estimates, conventional and measured, if uninspiring to her detractors, with a firm grasp of any policy or crisis that she might be called upon to address. Her opponent was a blunt-spoken billionaire, a reality television star prone to assailing most anyone unlike himself, who had never held public office, and who pundits believed had no chance of winning his party's primaries, much less the presidency. On the face of it, what is commonly termed race in America was not at issue.